Namaskar, Sawadee Krap, Ni Hao. Welcome you all to TechnoBiz Polymer Tech Talk. This is a virtual event series on polymer science and technology that we organize on regular basis by inviting the expert specialists related to the polymer science and technology. And today our guest speaker is Dr. Wenyu Shang. He's a Chief Technology Officer at Xinjiang Chungmi Technology based in China. It's a well-known company and he's going to give a talk on the ultimate weather resistance future of ASA building materials. Before I let him give a presentation, I'd like to inform you all that Dr. Shang will make a presentation first and he will take any questions you have after the presentation is over. So please post your questions in the question box and we address the questions at the end of the presentation. So join me to welcome Dr. Wenyu Shang to give a talk on the ultimate weather resistance future of ASA building materials.
All right, thank you, Mr. Param, and this is Wenyu Shang, and as Mr. Param introduced, I am the technology head of a Chinese firm called TechnoBiz Technology, and when we founded the company, we gave the company name as TechnoBiz, in which in Chinese means creation of beautiful stuff. So that bears our this well-started hope that we do something beautiful to this world and create something useful for our society. Okay, so the topic of my talk today is ultimate weather resistance future of ASA building materials, and which is the products we know best. And we have done the business in this area for over 20 years, and we're going to introduce the core technology and some of the best products we have created in this area to you. So, which I hope can be a little bit useful to your future work. Okay, so this is the content we're going to cover today. So I'm going to introduce myself, our company, and after that, focusing on our products, applications, the key properties, and our advantage, and in the potential partnership or potential collaboration opportunities we see in this industry. Every one of you on the line, and then we'll be closing there and answering your questions. Okay, so now. The first part, about myself. So this is myself. When Mr. Param introduced, me, you saw it's the same picture. Okay, so the picture was taken 10 years ago. Much younger than who I am right now, but it's still me. Okay, so I have worked in the polymer industry for nearly 30 years until now, and during the process, I've worked for multiple multi-international companies, including GE Plastic, Dow Chemical, Roman Haas, Poly One, so on and so forth. And in the process, I have accumulated lots of experience, related with certain polymers, especially with the highly weatherable resins, including ASA, accredited resins, and other weatherable resins and their application in many industrial sectors, which we will dive into more details in the later part of the presentation. And roughly from 2005, obviously I belong to a family, right? So the core family members had a short talk. We decided to start this little company called TechnoBiz Technology, and to utilize the knowledge I accumulated and the team I formulated around this topic, accumulated to put those know-how, expertise, and experience to practice and to create something useful for China and the overseas in terms of China, obviously markets. According to the practice in the past nearly 2 decades, we actually saw some very exciting results out of it. Okay, so now Polymer Technology. So as I said, the company was officially founded in 2008. Now we have a 17, close to 20 years history already. The major business we are practicing is in China, obviously, but in the past 10 years, we have explored the overseas market as well, and have seen lots of progress over there. So the major products we make and focus on are the specialty and high performance plastic products. As I said, especially with the highly weatherable plastics used in many different industrial sectors. Okay, while at the same time, as you can see on the right column, that we do this ASA product family, but also the flooring polymer group, for the highly wearable applications, and many other plastic, high performance plastic products related with the extremely weatherable demanding applications. Okay, so now with these pictures, you see, on the upper left corner of the picture, that's a manufacturing building we have in our plant in Xinjiang, Henan province. That's in the middle of China. So that plant was built for over 10 years. Most of our products were made in that facility and shipped to the global market, to serve our customers. On the upper right hand, you see the inside of our lab. So as you can imagine, we have really up-to-date and high-class R&D lab available to our technology team. So within that lab, we have the modern experimental equipment ranging from the sample preparation, most common property test equipment, and many other many other equipments and capabilities we can do to provide the service to our customer. The lower left end is the clean room. We have built within our manufacturing facility. So this clean room is within the building, on top of it. So the area is roughly around 400 square meters, and within this room, we design and use the facility to produce the highest end products, which demands the highest cleanness of the material. Okay, so and for some very special, very high-end applications. On the lower right hand, you see the film production line, which in action, and when the picture was taken, it was producing the orange color ASA film for our customer, and you will see more details with the application of this with this ASA film. Okay, now with that, we put that in the rest, and now we can dive in the key topic today. So the topic of this presentation is ultimate weatherable material, and more specifically, we're referring to a family. We're referring to a product family called steel plastic composite sheet solution. So this is a very specific product portfolio designed to meet very high weatherable demand, for the downstream industries, while at the same time to provide very good mechanical and chemical corrosion resistance properties to our customers. So, and with the information in the following page, I'll give you all details step by step, but now let's be clear that today we are focusing very specifically on this so-called steel plastic composite sheet. Okay. Okay, why it is important, why the industry demands such a composite sheet products. Okay, now the steel plastic composite sheet is a high performance sheet, right? So, and it's a combination of a core layer made by steel or other metals, metal sheets, and with additional chemical layers being laminated on either one side or two sides of the sheet. So on the right hand side, you see a typical picture, of a composite sheet made by a core layer of stainless steel, and with both layers laminated by our ASA film. So why do we do that? Because the reason is very simple, because we want the properties, the good properties from both of the steel core layer and the plastic layer on top and bottom sides of the steel sheet. So when we talk about plastic, okay, the outer layer of the composite sheet, the plastic are cheap, are easy to process. They are very resistant to weather. They are very resistant to UV, to water, to chemical resistance, but they are too soft, right? So they are usually too soft, and when you bend them, they change form. They distort their size. They distort with their shape. They cannot sustain high strength. Which material have high strength? The metal is a typical group of material with high strength, with a very thin layer of stainless steel or copper or aluminum or galvanized steel sheet. They can provide excellent strength with the sheet, but while at the same time, usually the metal sheet don't resist to the chemical very well. They don't resist to the weather factors very well. When you put a steel sheet out there in the open, it's got rusty very quickly within a few months. Maybe after 9 months or maybe a year, you will see lots of rust or even holes on it. So within the second year, it's no longer useful. Okay, so the reason of why we are going to make this composite film or sheet is very simple, because we want to combine the good things from both sides. So we want this core layer of the steel or other metal sheets to provide the mechanical strength, to provide the barrier strength, because the water or oxygen or whatever the gas or liquid is, they don't penetrate through the metal very easily. But while at the same time, we also want the flexibility of the plastic material. We want to put the plastic as a coat, as a protective layer on top of the metal layer to offer the composite sheet a much better resistance to UV light, much better resistance to water, to other chemical corrosions, and make the whole sheet can last much longer than a bare metal sheet. Okay, so that is the very simple, very straightforward answer to this question. And obviously, the next question, most engineers or people would ask is how to make it, or what's the best combination in my application. Of course, we will go dive into that layer of question in this page. So why it is useful? We already touched many of the information, because we combine the best things from both the metal side and the plastic side. So we harvest both of the benefits from the metal material and plastic material. So when we want to utilize such a composite sheet in my application, and then we would ask the engineer, what is your application? What is your key demand to use such a composite sheet? So then we can decide what type of metal we put in the middle, what type of plastic we put on both ends, on one or both end sides of the metal sheet, and what kind of process we combine these different things together. So as you can see from the second bullet point, that the concept is very versatile. So there are lots of combinations you can go after. So you can use stainless steel. That is one of the most common selected metal sheet in the industry. You can use aluminum sheet, right? So you can use galvanized steel sheet, or in some case, or you can even use other other like copper, those less common metal sheet you choose. When you choose, after you choose the metal sheet in the middle, there are still lots of additional versatile designs you can select on top of it, or AKA the plastic. You can protect one side of it, you can protect both sides of it, you can protect one or both sides with different materials. So with the second sub-bullet, with the second bullet point, I list several most commonly used polymers: ASA, PVC, PVPF, PET, polyamide, or fluorine polymer, so on and so forth. There is extra over there, right? So there are many other polymers you can choose, and indeed, in the industry, people choose different polymer from this list. But this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 polymers I listed on these slides are the most commonly used, especially with ASA, PVC, and PET, the third one. So these three polymers together covers more than 90% of the applications. So it's either ASA, PVC, or PET. So PVPF and polyamide are much less used in the industry, and all the rest of the polymers are even less, so even lesser compared with this all 5. So and also as we pointed out with the third bullet point, that you need a tie layer in the composite sheet design. Why? Because metal sheet doesn't usually go with a common plastic sheet very well. So when we design the whole thing, the concept is very beautiful, right? So I take a metal, I take a plastic, I harvest the benefits from both ends, fine. But how you put them together? So you would need to put some work into the design of the products and in the process of the products, because ASA doesn't go against a stainless steel sheet very easily. So if you force them together, by hot pressing or by very high pressure, lamination, so on and so forth, they can be sticked together on the appearance, but they would peel with very low peeling strength, which means it looks like you can put a PVC sheet on top of steel, a stainless steel, or ASA sheet on top of it, but you can take them off very easily. So that doesn't work, right? So you don't want it. You make such a composite sheet, when you install it, peeling together, it's peeling away from the stainless steel base. That's not the real solution. Maybe useful for you. So that's why this tie layer or mesh layer comes into play. Usually a tie layer is a bridging material, has good bonding strength with both of the stainless steel and with the plastic sheet as you choose. So being an engineer, you might be easily go to the point that there are different high layers, right? So you're exactly right. Because when you choose different metal combined with a different plastic protection layer, you would need to choose a different material, coming into between them and have good binding strength with both ends. So this is a very versatile area of the design and process as well. So there are lots of expertise and know-how in this area of choosing the tile layers as well. So main applications, I already mentioned some of them, previously, that in many residential and civilian and industrial workshops or buildings, people use this type of sheet as the outer or either a decorative sheet or a protective type of sheet or constructional part of the building. And another very wide application is the farming industry. So when you farm the chickens, ducks, when you build the hen, the industrial hen, people use this type of composite sheet as barrier in between of the different cells or the outer boundary of the different cells and units. It's the same goes for the cattle, pig, and many other farming industry or even fish. So for the fish pond, at the boundary of the pond, people use this as a boundary and or to separate the different parts of the fish ponds. So, and many other facilities, which are less prominent, like the civilian or industrial buildings or farming industries. But there are many other facilities use the products as well. So, okay, before I go to the next slide, there's one more point I want to emphasize, that in the industrial workshop segment, one of the most prominent workshops is the chemical related workshops. Like when you have a plastic processing workshop, or a workshop which need to process solvents, process many volatile chemicals. This type of composite sheet is very useful, because if you put a bare metal sheet as a roof or as the side protective barrier of the workshop, those solvents or those volatile releases of the plastic or other chemicals are very corrosive to the metal sheets, so they would go rust and degrading, and being deteriorated to holes and the less useful sheet very quickly. Only with this additional protective layer provided by the plastic sheet, you can build a good chemical workshop. Okay, so this is very widely used in China, and it's one of the largest segments in China market as well. So, and I think in many other markets that would be representing a very big market potential as well, besides the farming industry, which is another very large market segment. Okay, so here is a example to explain how what a composite sheet is and how a composite sheet works. So this is a very specific example designed by stainless steel sheet as the core layer and ASA film as a protective film on both sides. So on the lower left corner, it's a chart, illustrating the structure. As you can see, the gray part, the dark gray part in the middle is the stainless steel. The white and kind of beige, two layers on both sides are the tie layer and the mesh layers. I'll explain what mesh layer is, very shortly. And the two blue top layer on both sides are the ASA layers. So this kind of structure provide a very good combination to harvest the benefit from both of the stainless steel and the plastic sheet. Okay, so because the ASA layers are sitting on the very top layer on both sides, the ASA can protect the whole system from the damaging effect from UV light, from water, from the chemicals, or from the waste stream from the animals like the chicken, duck, cattle, pigs, so on and so forth. So this layer or the protective layer is like the skin of the composite sheet. While at the same time, ASA is a polymer can be made very aesthetic. The in the chart is illustrated as blue, right? So and on the right hand side, you can see I put a picture. It's a typical products we made that's made in dark brown. And in reality, our customers usually use green, blue, red, and gray and yellow colors a lot. So which means when you design your facility, when you design your building or whatever the facility you want to use this composite sheet, you can choose different colors or different combination of colors to make the building more comfortable. Or for some special reasons, when you raise a chicken or duck farm, then maybe there are specific requirements for the farm to be designed in certain color, to stimulate the animal to produce more eggs or meat, to grow faster or whatever. So we can design our products, according to our demand and to meet exactly, what's the color demand, on the aesthetic or functional sides, and also to, provide and maximize the protective function of the ASA layer. Okay, the tie layer and binding layer or the mesh layer are the two layers beneath ASA on both sides. As I said, the tie layer provides a function to bind the ASA onto the metal surface. So it is usually a functional polymer sheet, has excellent binding strength with both ASA and stainless steel. So this is like a glue, to glue the ASA onto the metal surface. And the mesh layer, and I put a picture on the right hand side. It looks like that. It looks like a non-woven or meshed special sheet, to put in between of the ASA and the metal sheet as well, to provide extra strength. All right. So because the metal strength, the metal sheet layer is very strong, right? It's a metal, right? So and the ASA layer is kind of soft. So even with this high layer of this additional binding strength provider to bind the ASA onto the stainless steel surface, you still need you still want a additional strength provider to make the whole composite sheet a little bit stronger. So that is the major function of this mesh layer. So it usually is made by a PP non-woven sheet, or in some special case, you want a very, very strong composite sheet. It's made it's made by a woven fiber sheet. So those fiber can provide extra strength on both of the constant first direction of the sheet, to make the sheet even stronger. So of course, as I said on the previous slides, that there are lots of nuances related with the design. There are lots of detailed knowledge, expertise, in this area. So it is best to talk with people like us or other expertise, experts in the area, to understand your application well, to understand the strength requirements, the weatherability requirement, and other requirements, about your application, and then we provide the best design to cover your performance requirements, while to meet the demand on the cost and expense perspective. So of course, in the middle is a metallic sheet. In this case, it's a stainless steel, and of course, we can go with many other sheets. As I said, the most commonly used metal sheets are stainless steel, galvanized steel, and aluminum foil. So these three are the most commonly used metal sheet core. So we can go with other selections as well. Depends on your needs. Okay, how it's made? Well, it's kind of very straightforward and simple. So we all played with. Excuse me, I got a cold recently. When we were kids, I believe everyone had played kind of the game, put different pieces of paper together and roll them together into a foil. It's like that. Okay, so or when we prepare a pizza, we have this base pastry and put stuffings on top of it. It's a very similar process, but of course the size is much bigger, and the control of the parameters are delicate, and there are lots of strength and force need to be used. So I put two pictures here which illustrate the two steps of making the sheet. So the first on the left side is the lamination step. So as you can imagine, with the previous slide, you can see there are multiple layers, right? So in the specific case related with ASA, there are 1, 2, 3, 7 layers, and with other cases, it can go with 3, 5, or 9. Depends on the complexity of your design, but the principle is always the same. So you put the metal sheet in the middle, which is the lower part of the machine. As you can see, the metal roll, of the stainless steel sheet unrolling from the machine, and on top of it is the preformed plastic and tie layer unrolling from the machine as well. And then these two layers go side by side, one on top of the other, go to the downstream machine, and the downstream machine, would press them together. Okay, this is the lamination process. I put it in extremely simple terms, but of course, with each of the step I explained, there are lots of pre-works and in-process parameter control required as well. So for example, the preformed plastic and tie layer sheet are 2 layers of sheet, right? So you have the ASA layer, you have the tie layer. You need to unroll them in the former part of the machine, heat both of them up, and press them together, and then press this preformed layer onto the stainless steel in the downstream steps. Okay, so after this is being done, you have a composite sheet. So the composite sheet is a flat sheet, obviously, and then to make the sheet useful or useful for the downstream, you need to form them into different formats. So we put an example on the right-hand side. That's a press forming. So it's a huge machine with very, very large force can be applied on the sheet. And then again, you need to heat the whole thing up. This is the receiving end of the machine, as the picture shows, which you can see the machine is spinning out a roofing sheet already. So you can see the blue part, coming out of the machine. But with the previous part, with the earlier part of the machine, which we cannot see the whole of it in this picture, going deeper into the picture, there are pre-heating unit in this machine. There are pressing modes available in the machine, which heats the whole thing up, and then press molding them into the shape as you want. Okay. Okay, so now let's see a more detailed setup of the machine. Usually the machines is very long. We're talking about 50, 60 meters long of the total machine at least. And then you would have the feeding rows, feeding all the raw material rows, the preheating zones to heat the material up, to make it soft, to make it available to be lamination, pressure rows to press laminate the whole thing together, measurement rows, to measure the thickness, width, and cut the edge of the sheet, to make the final products accurate with the size and thickness, and which has the trimming zones does here, and the rewinding zones. Okay, this picture doesn't cover the rewinding zones. With rewinding zone within the range, so but you can imagine it, which is the opposite working mechanism as the feeding rows. So the feeding rows unleash the raw material into a flat form, to be laminated, pressure molded, pressure laminated, and then measured and trimmed. And then this rewinding rows will wind the final products into a row, for the downstream application. And then on the right-hand side, I put a little video, to show, one of such machines in working. So I'm going to show it. Okay, so now this is a kind of the simple version of the machine. So this laminate 2 layers together, and as you can imagine, as I mentioned multiple times in this presentation, that there are much more complicated, there are much more complex machines than this, which can laminate 3, 5, 7 different layers of material together on one side or 2 sides, so on and so forth. This machine is relatively short, but it's very good. I put it there, because it's very good to illustrate the basic concept of the machine. So, which is very easy and useful for you to understand how this whole thing works. Okay. Okay. Now, next slide. The applications. Okay. We already mentioned it can be used on the roofing as a roof. So, if we go back 2 slides, so this product is for the roofing. Okay, so this is the pressing machine. Press the metallic plastic composite roofs. Can be used on the civilian building application on the wall panel. This is another very typical application, for this kind of composite sheet. I already mentioned the agricultural application, which is the farming. In this case, it's a chicken farm. You can see the greenhouse here. Is made by the composite sheet. Appliance is another, relatively small but still quite big application. For the refrigerators, icebox, and for washing machines. Those outer part of the machine can be made by this composite sheet as well. So, but back to the major applications, the civilian buildings, industrial buildings, especially the chemical related workshops, and farming industries, for the poultry and poultry animals and for the cattle and for pigs are the biggest segment can be used for these products. Okay, how does Chongmei, we fit into the picture? Chongmei, as I said, is a company with around 20 years experience, history, and experience, majorly in the polymer related material designs and application designs. So we know, all these polymers very well: ASA, PVC, PET, all these different type of polymers. How to design them, how to pick the right polymers for the application, how to design different combination of the top layer, the tie layer, the mesh layer, to fit your application demands. This is the core expertise we own. We know polymer very, very well. I have over 20 years, nearly 30 years experience in this industry. We have a strong R&D team, with the scientists with the same length of experience with me, and also working in the most prominent multi-international companies in our team. We can design whatever this polymer sheet or polymer solutions you would need based on your application. Okay, so and then this is the core expertise we have again. And then because we are in this industry for so long, we understand the whole process pretty well. We don't make machine, we don't make the metal sheet, but we know where the suppliers are, we know what the properties of the products are, we know which machines, how to choose, why to choose certain machine, how to choose certain machine, and to meet downstream needs. So, and we can recommend and link our clients with the right equipment and metal sheet supplier, so if they need it. And then at the same time, because again we are in this industry for so long, we understand end application pretty well as well. So for example, we talked about the farming industry a lot, because there are lots of farming industry customers who are using our materials. So we learned the market needs, we learned the pinpoint, we learned the technology demand from them. And then in the new markets, if you need such a development, for example, you may want to build a chicken farm or duck farm in India or in Indonesia or in Thailand. We can take all this know-how and expertise to the area and share this part of the expertise with our client totally for free. So okay, so again, we can link you to those proper suppliers for those core metal sheet, for the equipment, and recommend the right process and the right processing conditions, configurations to you when needed. Okay. So now, the third part about the products and application, is a core part. So we spend the most of the time on it. And then, the fourth and the fifth part would be, I would finish them fairly quickly, and then we can go into the Q&A part, so I can answer whatever the question you have interest on. So okay, so back to Chongmei's advantage. I already mentioned our best expertise resides in the polymer related area. We know our work, we know our products, we know the polymer really, really well. So in this case, with ASA family of products, we provide the best weatherable pellets, which is plastic pellets products to our customer, and also the sheet product to our customer as well. So we worked in this industry for over 20 years, and then nearly 100% our products, being used in the China market and in the market overseas, like in Africa, in Middle East, and sometimes in India, Indonesia, in ASA market, met the customer need very well. So we can very confidently and comfortably provide 20 years weatherability guarantee to our customer based on our expertise. Okay, this is one big point we always want to mention and emphasize about TechnoBiz. So corrosion resistance, as I mentioned multiple times as well. So to emphasize the same point again, this is why this type of products are used in the chemical related industry workshops and in the farming industry widely, because in the farming industry the animal waste are very corrosive to the metal material. For anyone who raises chicken or duck in their use may know that very well. And the chemical workshops obviously produce many corrosive ingredients to the surrounding environment as well. So this corrosion resistance performance is very, very critical and important to the application as well. Aesthetic, we also mentioned that ASA can be made into many colors and even made into certain visual effects. So for example, we can make a material or sheet with this streaking effects mimicking the natural wood grain. So it's like a natural wood you cut from the tree with the ASA sheet. So it's obviously of course it's not exactly the same, but we can make the visual effects close enough that when you put it on the roof or on the side, when you look the whole thing from a little distance, like from 2 meters away or 3 meters away from the wall, it looks close enough like a natural wood on the wall. So this is one of the additional benefits we can provide to our customers on the aesthetic perspective, besides the color and the color stability. All right, eco-friendly. So both the metal part and the plastic part are recyclable. So it can be easily recycled when the product hits the end of the lifespan. So when you dismantle the sheet from the farms, from animal farms, or from the workshops, you can easily no, I won't say easily. There are ways you can peel. You can use certain ways to peel the plastic off, and then recycle the metal and the plastic. So and then we generate the minimum impact on the environment by using when our customer use our products. So and this is a quite important point, to be honest, in the current world, because this climate change topic, this environment protection points are getting more and more important everywhere in the world. Okay, now I believe we are going to the last section of our presentation today. TechnoBiz provides lots of advantage, lots of benefits to the industry. So we already mentioned our expertise in the industry. So here we emphasize that again. We know our work really, really well. We know our polymers. We know how to design them. We know how to choose them. We know how to apply them in proper applications. So as long as we understand your market demand, understand your requirement well enough, we nearly always can provide some good solutions to you, with our polymer products. When I say good, it means not only means the performance, to meet your stability, to meet your other resistance or weatherability demands, but also on the cost side. So we are very skillful in control the total cost, of the solution. So even when our products is selling at a little bit higher price, we have ways to reduce the total cost when you use our products on your solution. Okay. Equipment support, we also mentioned this point again. We don't make equipment, to be clear, again, but we know the equipment, suppliers fairly well. We can always provide our opinions and recommendations to you when needed. Of course, this is a free service. We can provide you with our knowledge. We can provide you with our opinion, and you can always use this part of the information, to support you to find the best solution for you. So there are other resources who know equipment even better than us. I believe so, because we are not the equipment expert. Okay, there are many other equipment experts as well, but we know in certain area, in this steel, plastic, composite sheet area, we know the equipment very well. We know the supplier very well. We can always share and provide those knowledge for free. Okay. Customization capability, it's the same point again, that once we understand what you need, we can always provide this expertise, knowledge, and opinion to you, about how we think, how we believe is the best solution for you to meet your performance as the most economic expense. Okay, so of course, this is for free, and you can always use our this part of the resource as part of your decision-making resources. Okay, integrated service, again, it's the same thing. We are open to talk with you, to provide those expertise, to provide, the whole systematic solution, to you to support a good or even excellent operation on your edge. So in the past, we have worked with multiple customers with this kind of approach, and the output in our eyes were very good, and those customers were happy, and we keep the relationship with them and keep providing ongoing services for many of them as well. Of course, again, I always want to mention that this part of the beyond the polymer part, this part of the service is all just for free. We always love to work with you and help you to make your system work. Global presence, I won't mention this for too long. We have a very healthy and wide export business beyond China. We have business in Europe, in the Middle East, SEA, Africa, so on and so forth, from 3-4 years ago, I would say the trend is getting stronger and stronger in the global business part. So our customers from overseas are getting more and more, and our experience when working with with customers from other countries are more and more getting more and more as well. Okay, market and partner. Just mention that we are a China company. So we have worked in this market for over 20 years with lots of resources and experience in this market. So we understand this market really, really well, and we have presence in the global market as well. So we cover a wide range of business for over 20 countries for now, and we want to grow that numbers to 30, 40 in the near future. And then as I said for previous slides, that we see the global market and the international market as a critical, important part of our business, in the future. Okay, some of the typical customers we work with. We won't stay here for too long, and then the same point. I won't read them. But the key point is we are a technology focusing company. We provide expertise, knowledge, and so a total service to you, and then we hope by doing that, we achieve a successful collaboration relationship between us and you. Okay. And then here, again, left side is me, right hand side is Jack. Jack is our global marketing director, who is in charge of the international business. Okay. So on the page, you will see our mobile phone numbers, email, and WhatsApp QR code. So please record this and reach out to us, ask whatever question you may want to get from us in the future. So this is the last slides of my presentation. I would pause here and see whether or not I can answer some of your questions. Thank you, everyone, for your attention for this hour-long talk.
Thank you, Dr. Shang. It is a very informative presentation. A lot of learning on the weather resistance materials. Thank you very much, guys. Now it's time to ask some questions to Dr. Shang on this presentation. Actually, we have a couple of questions here, Dr. Shang. Let me show you on the screen, and please do read the questions and answer them appropriately. Yeah. Let me show you. Are you able to see the question?
I can. Yes. So the first question is, how is adhesion between steel and plastic layers ensured? Okay, so excellent question. As I said in the third part, section of the presentation, there are two layers called tie layer and mesh layer, right? So this adhesion between the plastic and steel layers are majorly ensured by the tie layer. So the reason why we need it is usually when we choose a plastic layer like ASA and a metal layer like stainless steel, the natural bonding strength is not really good. They can bind together, for somewhat a reasonable strength. When you heat them up, you press them really, really hard, ASA can be bound onto the surface of stainless steel properly. So, and even when you try to peel it off, you can feel some strength, but it's not enough. And then, this is where and why the tie layer comes into play. So the usual design of the tie layer is a polyester based, like polyurethane, based layer, plastic layer, which has very strong bonding strength with both ASA and steel at the same time. It's like a glue, right? So when you try to put two pieces of glass together, what do? You put a layer of glue in between of the two glasses. The glue, the function of the glue is to grab the two pieces of glasses from both ends and keep them together. So this is how the tie layer works. And of course, there are lots of nuances on this point. When you choose ASA, and stainless steel, it's usually a polyurethane tie layer. But when you choose a PVC and stainless steel, the tie layer is a different type of material. Again, when you choose a PVDF against aluminum foil, it's a further different type of tie layer. So there are lots of different combinations, lots of different mechanisms you need to follow to choose the right tie layer to make sure the binding strength is strong enough. So I'm not sure if this answers your question, or do I need to further clarify the point?
The next question.
Okay, next question is, what challenge exists in bending, cutting, or welding composite sheet during appliance assembly? I would say not much, because bending, cutting, and welding are all very mature procedures related with the metal part of the composite sheet. So you just follow the usual procedure. When you need to bend, cut, or weld a metal sheet. The only difference is, with this composite sheet, it doesn't impact the bend and cut part, but with the weld part, you need to avoid the plastic part. You need to, usually in the appliance application, it's a one-side protective layer of the composite sheet. The other side is bare metal, right? So you need to make sure the bare metal in contact with the bare metal from the other end of the welding spot. That's the only thing you need to take care of or pay some attention to. So I don't see any special difficulties. So because plastic is a very soft material, so when you bend or cut it, it doesn't introduce lots of resistance to the bending or cutting force. So yeah, when you can cut the metal, the plastic is nothing. So the basic point. Thank you for the point. Thank you for the question. So it's I understand this can be a little bit confusing sometimes. So especially when you first contact with this material.
Okay. Are you able to see your screen now? Because I think you use a different device. Can you check your screen now? Your computer screen.
My screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah. Can you see my screen on your computer?
No, somehow I can't. Oh,
no,
yeah, now I can.
Okay.
Now I can.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, because there is a feedback from the other device. Okay, so use this one only. Yeah.
Okay.
The next one.
Okay, so third question is, what is the cost comparison with traditional materials? It's usually much cheaper. So, for example, in the farming industry, before this type of material came into play, people use many other solutions like wood, natural wood, right? So, or like the brick walls, or like the how to say that, the metal walls, pure metal sheet. So of course the pure metal sheet is the cheapest option, but it's not optional. It's cheap in the unit price. But when you raise a chicken, you use the barrier as a pure stainless steel, or galvanized steel as a barrier. It usually goes bad within a year. So you need to replace the barrier every year. But with this composite sheet, metal plastic composite sheet, you can use it for at least 5 to 10 years. So then the total cost is much cheaper than the pure metal sheet. And it's much cheaper compared with natural wood construction and or with the brick wall, because with many other solutions, it's not only the cost of the construction materials, but also it's much more labor intensive and much more difficult to build the barrier or the workshop, because in the steel plastic composite sheet scenario, you can easily preform them into the standardized module. So what you need to do in the workshop construction field is to nail them together, right? So it's like a Lego game. So you take all these standardized module, you put them together, you use nails, bolts, or nuts, just to connect them together, and then you're done. So the construction time, the labor consumption usually are much less compared with the traditional construction method. So so except for the unit price for the pure metal sheet, the construction material itself is cheaper, and the labor consumption, construction cost is much lower compared with the traditional material. Yeah. Thank you for the question. Next one is, how does this sheet perform under extreme conditions such as high UV exposure, heavy rain, humidity, or snow? Okay, I like to thank for whoever asked this question, because I love it. Because this question is just allow me to boast the best performance of our products. Again, ASA material. I already mentioned the benefits of this composite sheet, right? So we combine the metal sheets benefits with the plastic benefits. So when you choose ASA or PVDF as the top layer, then we can provide at least for 20 years protection against all this stuff: high UV exposure, heavy rain, humidity, and stuff. Okay, PVDF, ASA can provide at least for 20 years protection, and PVDF can provide even longer. So, for example, 25 or even 30 years in some conditions. Okay, so this is exactly the best performance we can provide with ASA and PVDF. Okay, and it happens to be the products we know the best and we make the best at TechnoBiz. Okay, thank you again. The new one is, what is the typical thickness of ASA film used in building applications? Okay, good question again. And the typical thickness of ASA film in current China market resides from 80 micron to 120 micron. So that is the typical thickness range. In some special cases, it can go beyond 120 micron meters, and also can go lower than 80 micrometers. But this range is the most commonly used thickness. And in the real application, when the customer send a request to us, if there is no additional special requirements, the usual thickness we recommend to our customer is 100 to 110 microns. So that is the best balance between cost and performance. So it doesn't cost much because the thickness is pretty low, and well, at the same time, it provides very good protection to the underneath material or the metal sheet, whatever the material is. And when the customer, are not too sensitive to the cost, or not, can afford to use a little bit more material, we may recommend them to go to 120 or even a little bit higher than that. But most of the customers would say, we want to save cost, and then we want to keep the total cost even lower. Then, usually we would go below 100 to 90 micron, things like that, or even to 80. But when we hit 90, 85, 80, then we are going to treading in the water. It's a rather uncomfortable water that we need to be very, very careful between the balance of cost and performance, because we are starting to jeopardize some of the performance. The protection will go lower and lower with the lower thickness. Of course, we have the technology means of certain things we can do, to jack up, to boost up the protective power of the film, even at 85 or 80 micrometers. But still, with too thin of the thickness, you always lose some of the protective power. And sometimes, the customer may even ask for 75, 70, and then you are going into a really, really dangerous zone of practice. You need to always be cautious and ready to lose some of the protection, and ready for the products to face a failure earlier than your expectation. Okay.
Dr. Shang, that's all the questions we have for today. Thank you very much for doing the good presentation today on the ultimate weather resistance, the future of ASA building materials. Thank you very much. Before I let you go, would you like to give a final message to the audience, please?
Yes. First I like to thank you, Mr. Parham, and it's a wonderful event. Thank you for the invitation and give us the platform to present our expertise, our products, portfolio to the industry. And thank for all the audience, on the line, who ask for questions. I hope what I shared today can be of a little bit use of you in the future. And then again, Chongmei, as I said, Chongmei is a technology-based company. We have this expertise in the polymer industry, and we believe we already saw lots of use and help we provide to our customers in China and out of China. And I hope in the future we can do the same with every one of you, to help you in certain way to boost up the value or the market in your region and with your application. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Shang. Thank you very much for doing the TechnoBiz Polymer Tech Talk today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys, that's the end of today's episode of the TechnoBiz Polymer Tech Talk on ultimate weather resistance, future of ASA building materials by Dr. Wenyu Shang, Chief Technology Officer at Xinjiang Qingmi Technology based in China. I'm hoping that this presentation is useful. If you have more questions, please do write to Dr. Shang or Jackie for more, any further assistance you need, or you'd like to collaborate with them for their materials. Thank you guys for joining the session. I look forward to welcome you for the next episode of the TechnoBiz Polymer Tech Talk. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shang, once again. Bye-bye for now.